Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully you can hear me. I got a new mic here, so we're gonna get to it. So I'm just taping this off right now, shielding it out, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray a light purple, and then we're gonna do some water droplets. I'm gonna show you how I mix. A good way to mix paint. Basically, I just take candy paint and mix it with some white base coat, thin it out. Pretty much make any color, so make sure you stick around to the end of this because I'll show you how to do that. Let's see, this is... So right now I'm using a few different sizes of tape, using some 3/4 inch. This is, let's see. So I buy it on Amazon. You can check you'll be able to check the description after this is over, but these tapes will be on that Amazon affiliate link. They're about half the price of what 3M is, and they're just as good. They come in a box like that. I mean, I swear I think you get like 6 rolls what you would usually pay for 3 on 3M. So good deal. Check it out. Works great. Make sure you guys can see here and put that down. Okay. So like I said, I'm just masking everything off that where I don't want this light purple paint. And I tried to get this done before you guys all jumped on, but I didn't have enough time, so just bear with me. It's easier to start with, like in these small areas with 1/4 inch 3M tape. Just want to make sure it's pressed down really good, especially around in the corners. You don't want any overspray. This has been clear coated prior to this, so if there was any overspray, we can simply just sand it off with some 600 grit, or we can wipe it off with some lacquer thinner. Either or works. I usually just wipe it off with lacquer thinner. Grab the fatter tape here. It's nice because this tape rips actually really easy. It's way faster. Okay, I almost got it here. Use different sizes of tape in different areas to make it easier. And we don't have to rip the tape all the time to get little pieces off. So I kind of just always keep these few sizes available. Looks like a little bit more right here, and we're going to have it. All right. Double check everything. Check your edges. I did run some Limeline fine line tape around this again. If you were to use the Limeline instead of like what you have here, the paper tape, it's going to give you a lot sharper edge, especially when it comes to solid pigment paint. So, I mean, you can still use the paper, but you're not getting a good of an edge. So, just remember that. All right, y'all see anything? Any spot I'm missing? Looks good. All right, so I'll kind of give you a peek of what we're going to be doing. So we're just going to duplicate what I have on this side right here. I'm getting ready to mix up the paint here in a second, and I'll show you how to do that. But we'll be putting these water spots in. It's an easy technique. It'll be real quick, and I'll show you how to do it. Let's get this out of the way so I can show you how to mix up this paint. So I already have it pre-mixed, and I don't want to remix it because that's the exact color that I have on the other parts. So there it is. It's a light purple. I'm going to show you how I mix it up. Speedo coat, urethane reducer, so I didn't have any purple candy, but I did have pink candy, and I do have blue candy. So let me show you the other color. Where are we at here? Here it is right here. Okay, basically that's the urethane reducer in there. One more thing I need to show you. Okay, inner coat clear. Let's make this so you understand it, okay? All right, I didn't have purple candy on hand when I started this. I had pink candy and I had blue candy. You mix those two together at a certain ratio. You got to kind of fine tune it. You'll come up with a purple. These are candy concentrates, so that means they need to be not reduced down. I mean, the reduction is used with the urethane reducer. This is inner coat clear, also known as clear base coat. So all we're doing is adding these two transparent candies. Because they're concentrated, we're going to mix them with a clear base coat. It's kind of like Kool-Aid. Like, this is the water to your Kool-Aid. You're going to put your Kool-Aid in with your water, and you might need some sugar or something. But think of it like that. You don't drink Kool-Aid right out of the packet. It's too strong. This is too strong. And not only that, is without the clear base coat, it really won't stick. So don't make that mistake. Make sure that you're mixing this with the inner coat clear. The reduction. It all depends on, usually I'll start when I'm airbrushing around a 3-to-1, 3 parts of the base to the 1 part transparent candy. And that's what's in here, and it's reduced a little bit so it makes it sprayable. 3-to-1 is what I do, like I said. The reason why I do 3-to-1, some people say 3-to-1, well, that's way too potent. You know, well, if you're spraying a car, a whole car, you're going to do something like maybe a 30-to-1. 30 parts that, 1 part of the candy. So it's going to take more coats to cover and to get the richness of the color when you're at, say, a 30-to-1, you know, because you have a lot more base coat in there. It dilutes it a lot more, and it would just take, you know, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 8 coats, you know, who knows. The reason of doing that is if you're painting a whole car, you want it to be as even as possible. So the more coats you can do that are lighter, you can kind of build it up slow so it won't look like splotchy and darker in other spots. and stuff like that. So that's a whole different animal. We're painting motorcycle parts here, and we're using our airbrush, and we're keeping it confined to small areas. Also, we don't want to add a whole lot of build of a paint by the edges of the tape. So when you pull the tape, you don't want a mile thick of tape and an edge that you have to sand out and smooth out once you got clear coat. You just don't want to have to deal with that. That's why I mix it 3-to-1. Most people say, well, that's too potent. That's too much candy. Well, it's not. It's really not for this, because you want to keep the layers thick. You want to get the job done. Yeah, if you're using your spray gun and spraying bigger parts, it would be better to use more base coat. All right, so there we have the candy. And we have the light purple. So how I made this color right here is after I made my candy color, and I've been using this on the parts to paint everything over the metal flake. I wanted to add a little splash, like I showed you, a little splash of pigmented color. And that's what I made here. And all I did was take this color right here and mix it with a white base coat to create, light purple like that. Another thing you need to understand is, so now that I have put candy in this paint, it wants to bleed through. So if I was to lay this down, this purple, or that purple, or anything with candy in it, as a matter of fact, and I lay that down, I spray it down, and then I lay a white over the top, well, that candy is going to suck right through the white. And the only way to prevent that is to either bury it, give it a barrier coat of clear coat or intercoat clear. But that's one thing you need to remember. So we are going to start with this and then edge it with this candy color, and I'll show you that. But that's how it's made. Just white base coat with a little splash of this. I mean, just tiny drop of that will turn it to that light color of purple. And you can mess around and see how dark or how light you want it. But there you go. Then it's just reduced. All the reducer does is it makes it thin enough to spray. So once it hits your part, that urethane reducer is evaporating. So since it's evaporating, it's not going to stay with the paint. So all that is just a carrier to make it thin enough to be able to spray it on. And then it's gone. It doesn't even stay with the paint. So that's it. There's our two colors we're going to use. We'll bring the tank back over here. What's up, Brazil? Sorry I'm not getting to all your questions. I have no idea how to go back and read them. I don't even know if I would have time, but if you do have questions, this will re-record. You can either watch it again or whatever. But you'll find it on YouTube after the fact, and you can re-ask your question in the comments, and I make sure I answer those. All right, there's our base coat. Is that our base coat? That is. Needs a little bit more reducer. So I'm using an Eclipse HPCS. You can find those on that Amazon link too. And you can kind of see, once you do this for a while, you'll understand how thin you really need it. Like, I can pretty much tell when I pour it in if it's too thick or not. So that's just one thing that you'll learn with time. But until then, if it's too thick, it's going to come out really splotchy and not very smooth. If it's too thin, it might blow out and not cover as good. So you just got to know what happens when it's not mixed right. And there you go. That's spraying pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in all of these areas that I masked out with this light purple. And as you can see, I'm just kind of, that's not even fully covered yet. I'm just Kind of taking the first pass. Keep filling it in. See right here, looks like I got a little bit of tape overlap. I messed up there. So let's bring that back. You can see I'm doing long sweeping strokes. I'm trying to keep it nice and even on there. I mean, this is just base coat, solid pigmented base coat. So the more you put on, it's not going to get darker. It's not like candy paints. Candy paints are different, like I showed you before. They're transparent. So the more paint that you put on, or the richer you make the concentrate, the different it's going to look. So you just keep building on. It's like best way I can explain it is like transparent film. That's like, you know, the acetate film. A lot of times they'll put them over light bulbs or something like that to change the color. Well, if you were to put, you know, 5 or 6 layers of purple film, transparent film, over the top of each other and laid them on top, well, it's going to get darker. Same thing with candy paint. You know, it's not like a pigment. It's not the same. Completely different. It, like I said, it has a tendency to bleed through, so it's a different animal. It's just another thing you kind of have to learn. But once you learn it, it's easy. It's really easy. And once you learn what it can do, like if you put this pigmented paint over metal flake, like I'm doing here, I mean, you can't see through it. It's not transparent. It's opaque. It covers. And that's what base coat is. That's what the white Speedo coat, base coat, red base coat, black base coat. If it says base coat, that means it's just base coat. It dries fast. It's not like clear coat. It takes a while to clear or to dry. I mean, you see, this is already, you know, dry to the touch. It dries fast. A lot of people ask me that question, like, well, how long do I wait to pull my tape off? Well, right now, it's getting almost up to 100 degrees in my shop right now because I can't run my damn swamp cooler because it's too loud. So this is drying super fast. So if you ask me that question, you know, I usually going to give a generic answer of, well, it's just my paint. I kind of just give a generic answer of, you know, 5 to 10 minutes, but really, you know, it hasn't been 10 minutes, and that's dry. But if you're spraying at 60-degree weather, and you're spraying out of a bigger spray gun, and maybe you're just piling it on really fast, well, yeah, it's going to take a while. It could take 20 minutes. You could put it on there so thick that it starts to run, and then it takes an hour. So you just have to know, you know, your base coat can be sprayed dry, like this, you know. There's no time frame or window you really have to wait. You just kind of have to know. But it dries fast. Candy, same thing. Dries pretty fast. You know, not quite as fast as base coat, but pretty fast. All depends on how you mix it and how you spray it. going to kind of go over this one more time to make sure that we're all covered. Okay, looks like we got it. I'm going to give that just another second to dry. Clean this airbrush out. Okay, here's that purple mixture that I showed you how to mix earlier. And this is the transparent candy. This is that candy mixed with that clear base coat and reduced, so it's able to be sprayed. Basically, you are going to be able to see through. It's just going to darken and tint. I'm going to darken and tint the edges, and then we're going to spray some of that splatter effect on there. And we'll kind of go from there. So we'll show you how that's done. Loading up. Okay, so I like to use 3M glass cleaner for this effect. Make sure you shake it up really good. If you shake it up really good, it makes it more foamy and works better. I want to make sure I have my purple all ready to go. So here's the purple. See that right there? You can see the difference. It's the purple candy and the light purple base coat. So let me set my airbrush down. So when I spray this effect with glass cleaner, one thing you do have to remember is I'm using a solvent-based paint right here. If I'm using Cretex or Alpha Enamel or any other water-based paint, this isn't going to work because you're just going to melt the paint right off of what we have. So this is a solvent-based paint, so it's going to be great. It's going to work good. This water-based glass cleaner is not going to touch it. So what I like to do is, see how you kind of get it to splatter like that? Kind of just by like barely pushing on it. That's what we want. Let me back this up a little bit so you can see. Oh, come on. There. All right, let's do it. I don't want too much on there. I just want to get it kind of, not really, kind of even. You want it everywhere. Little dots, big dots. Lose a little bit more right there. Whoa, here we go. That looks good. A little bit bigger ones right there. There we go. Okay, we're going to get on this before this dries. Hold up 1 second. I'm actually looking at the other side. I may have sprayed just a little bit too much. My mistake. I'm going to wipe this off because I feel like I just did a little bit too much of a spray on there compared to the other side. Just going to wipe this off and start over. No biggie. Let's try it again. Okay, that looks better. That looks like that matches that side much better. So we got this candy purple. We're just gonna lightly airbrush this in over it. The more you spray, the more prominent the water droplets are going to be. You see how it's turning that water purple, the glass cleaner purple. Okay, I think that's all we're going to need right there. And while it's still wet, you just go ahead and simply just wipe it right off. Looks like I could have used a little bit more right there. Let me go ahead and hit that again right here. Push that tape back down. All right, that looks pretty good. Tape's all down. Then we're gonna go ahead and finish it off by edging just the edges in the same candy purple, giving it just a little bit of a blend. See how I'm kind of aiming for the tape? I'm aiming for the tape line so I get a smoother blend when it blends out. Got a couple fuzzies in there. Fill my purple up again. Okay, this is the last of the purple I have in that cup, so hopefully this is going to be enough. If not, I'm going to have to mix up more. Like I said, I'm just edging on the tape. Just giving it a nice blend right there. kind of dust a little bit over the middle too, just kind of give it a nice smooth blend. I think we pretty much got it there. We did have enough paint, luckily. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. There is one more step that I do. I'll have to mix some up for you so you guys can see it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a pearl over top of this. The pearl is too big for an airbrush, so I'm going to have to spray it with an air gun. Let's see where this stuff is at. Okay, I'm using some of this violet pearl. It's pretty awesome stuff. And I'll probably mix some here with... So I'm going to take some clear base coat. That right there. I'm going to take some Tamako clear base coat. You can also use the House of Color that we had there earlier that we mixed the candy with. Clear base coat. Inner coat clear. Same thing. I'm going to take that and scoop out. Let's see what stuff looks like. Okay, I'm going to show you this, but you got to promise me you're not going to sniff it, okay? Don't do it. There it is. Purple pearl. This stuff's, you can see how, see if we get it focused in there, but you can see how coarse it is. So we're going to give it a couple little spoonfuls. Mix it up. And look how thick that is, see? Like you can see it rolling around in there. And it's not spraying through an airbrush. And it's not spraying through an airbrush anyways because of how thick the pearls are in this case. So we're going to spray it through a spray gun, but it's going to need to be reduced. And that same urethane reducer I have right here, any urethane reducer should work for this. So you can find it on Amazon, you can find it anywhere pretty much. There you go. See, you can see that's a lot thinner. My spray gun is pretty dirty. I probably should have cleaned it. I think we're all right. Let me clean this out just a little bit, or I think we're going to have a problem. Bear with me just for 1 second, guys. That should do it. Okay, so we're just going to pour this straight into this little cap thing. This actually hooks to the PPS system right here. Hooks to the cups, the disposable cups. Instead of wasting a cup, we can just go ahead and pour a little bit in there. Make sure it's mixed up. Hook it up to the air line. And I'm probably spraying like around 25 or something PSI. Turn that down just a tad. It's going to be hard to tell what I'm doing, but I'm just spraying just a little bit of pearl to give it a little sparkle, which overall just gives it an awesome look. You know, just another another look, another feel to the paint, just like we're doing here with the pigmented paint and the blends. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think that is good. So you don't need much on there. We're not trying to cover it 100%. Just trying to get enough on there to make it sparkle just a little bit. All right, we're ready to peel this off. So it's been a few minutes. Like I said, I peeled that. I sprayed that that pearl so light that, man, it dries. Like, especially with being 100 degrees in here, it dries fast. So you can really get on it. If you're using waterborne, first off, waterborne, like I said before, if you caught the first part of this video, this doesn't work with waterborne paints because we're using a waterborne glass cleaner to make that splatter effect. So if you guys are wondering how I did the fish scales and the rest of this paint job, I'll have another video out by the end of the week that'll show exactly how I painted this tank and also the steps that I took here in order to make these water spots. That'll all be on that edited video. This being alive, it's a little bit longer, but you'll be able to catch this whole tank getting painted in less than 15 minutes. Going to unwrap this so we can see what we have here, and then I'll check and see if I'm able to answer any of the questions. I have no idea how to go back and look at the questions being answered, but that I know of.